The Mets with a big win tonight, 9-1. They snapped their 4-game losing streak over the A's. Peterson, big performance as he does it again. Gets his 7th win of the season. He's now 7-1. 6 1/3 innings pitched, only 3 hits, no earned runs. He gave up the 1 run. It was not earned. He walked 4, and he struck out 4. So, we want to work on the walks. But other than that, he was great again tonight. And between Peterson and Minaya, the Mets looks like they have 2 good pitchers here. I mean, Peterson, I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it doesn't. He comes out every 5 days and pitches a good start since he's come back from injury. Alonso, 4 hits, 3 RBIs, a long home run. Lindor with a home run, his 100th as a Met, and his 4th straight multi-hit game. And the Mets break out in a big way, and they win 9-1. And it was one that they desperately needed because they had lost 4 in a row. It was kind of, you could tell just from the crowd and the feel that things were starting to slip away for the Mets. They got back on track tonight. They're not going to gain any ground because the teams they're chasing, Arizona and San Diego, who we told you they don't lose anymore. They both won. Arizona has won 26 of 30. They're 26-4 in their last 30 games. And both them and San Diego are 9-1 over their last 10. So now they're running away with the first 2 wildcard spots. They're actually challenging the Dodgers for the NL West lead, which nobody saw coming. And it looks like it's going to be a race for 1 spot, the 3rd wildcard spot. It's now owned by the Braves, who are suddenly playing a little bit better than they have. They're still 3-7 over their last 10, but they seem to be playing a little bit better. They're winning tonight. They're beating up on the Giants 7-1, that game in the 8th inning out in San Francisco. So the Mets are going to still remain 2 games out, but you couldn't fall back anymore. You didn't want to be 3 out. Going and losing the first 2 games against the Oakland A's, who are just god-awful. They're 19 games under 500. You couldn't have that. So they came out and they got Peterson to give him a much-needed start, stop the bleeding, and now you can move forward and you could kind of put the weekend in Seattle and last night in the rearview mirror and work forward as they have big games now. You gotta really clean up against teams like the A's and the Marlins, and you want to sweep one of these series because you want to go into the series against Baltimore, which closes out this homestand. You want it to go in there being able to, if you lose 2 out of 3, it's not the end of the world. Now, if somehow you lost 2 out of 3 to the A's and then you only won 2 out of 3 against the Marlins, you'd have to win 2 out of 3. Now, it's looking less and less big for the Mets, the West Coast trip, just on the fact that San Diego and Arizona continue to just win every night, and they're pulling away. Now, the Mets are still chasing the Braves, and that there's always that, that we're not as good as the Braves. The Braves always have our number, and they do. And it might come down to the last week of the season when they play the Braves in a series. But as far as tonight goes, listen, it was a good night for Alonso, a big night for Alonso. 4 for 4, 3 RBIs, a long home run. Lindor breaks out. He's now been hitting well all week. But Nimmo, again, is an 0 for 3. And Nimmo has just been terrible. Since the All-Star break, Brandon Nimmo is hitting 140 with 30 strikeouts. 30 strikeouts in 23 games. He's had 30 strikeouts, and he strikes out 1 every 3 times. This was after we were sitting there campaigning for him to get into the All-Star game. Talking about how he was a snub, he deserved to be there. He has done nothing since the All-Star break. He's hitting 140, and night after night, it's 0 for 4, 0 for 3. Every night. Alvarez got a hit tonight. He's been slumping too. He did get a hit tonight. But even in games like this, when the Mets blow them out, they scored 9 runs. They blew it open in the 7th inning with a big inning. Sitting there with an 0 for 3 is Brandon Nimmo. And they got to get that figured out because that's a corner outfield. You can't have a corner outfield position hitting 140 over a month and a half of baseball with 30 strikeouts. You could live with the strikeouts if he's hitting a bunch of home runs and he's getting extra base hits and he's driving in runs. He's not doing any of that. He's got 30 strikeouts and 86 at-bats since the All-Star break. He's got 4 RBIs since the All-Star break. In 23 games, 4 RBIs. You can't have that coming out of your left field or corner outfield position. Now, Marte's scheduled to come back at the end of this week. I don't know, and they haven't dropped Nimmo in the lineup yet. He's still hitting second every day. He's an automatic out at this point. So Nimmo's got to figure this out. If the Mets are going to be contenders, and they're going to play. So then they're coming up and playing some good teams. They're going to need Brandon Nimmo. The pitching is, like I said, Peterson. Nothing but good things to say about Peterson. He was dominant again tonight. He's 7-1 since he's come back off the injury. And you got Marte down playing rehab games. You got Scott playing pitching rehab games. And is he going to come up? Is he going to pitch is he going to pitch again this season? I don't think he is, because I think he's too valuable for the Mets. I think they will but they seem to be ramping him up. Does he go to the bullpen? Does he come and replace somebody like Severino, who's really struggled now, 3 straight starts? But listen, there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered as the Mets head into this important stretch. Tonight was an important win, because now you can put those games behind you. The last 4 games, just put them behind you. You know, they're not devastating. They didn't destroy the Mets because the Braves were losing. Braves are 3-7 in their last 10 games. So that's who you got to focus on now. You focus on the Atlanta Braves, and you got to go get them. And you got to pass them. They only passed them once so far this season, two or 3 weeks ago on that Friday night when they beat them. And that's when the Mets started playing bad after that. They lost the final 2 games of that series to the Braves. And then they went on that West Coast trip where they were 4-6. Then they came home, lost last night, and then they stopped the bleeding tonight with a 9-1 win. It was all Mets basically the whole game. Lindor started it off with the home run. Vientos got a double down the line, which scored some runs. The Mets had a 4-1 lead, and then they went into the 7th inning, and they blew it wide open as the A's just couldn't find the strike zone. I mean, you had that guy, was it Lyles, I think it was? He couldn't throw a strike. He walked the bases loaded, then threw a wild pitch, and then started giving up doubles as all the Mets came around to score. And they blew it open there, and they go on to win 9-1. A big win. Right? You can't lose 5 in a row down the stretch here, because this is the time of the season where baseball is every day. It's hot. They're tired. Teams start to get tired, and you lose ground real fast. You know, you have a bad 2 weeks where you win. You go 6-14. It's over. So they got another one tomorrow. Tomorrow it's an afternoon game. I'll be curious to see if Nimmo plays or if Alvarez plays. Alvarez is a day game after night game after catching. I would put Alvarez in because he's starting to look like he's swinging a little bit better. He's making better contact. Don't sit him. Put him in. Let him work through this and bust out. And hopefully now Alonso is busting out. He's hitting much better. Since the All-Star break, Alonso's hitting .269. Okay, he has 33 strikeouts too, but he also has 25 hits, 17 RBIs, and 7 home runs. That's what you need from a corner position, whether it be a first base or a corner outfield. Not Nimmo hitting in the 2-hole with Alonso protecting him, hitting 140 with 30 strikeouts. So that's what's going on with the Mets. They win tonight, 9-1, a big win. Finally, they break out. They beat it. This is what they should be doing to the A's. They have to win tomorrow. You can't lose this series. Then you go into the Marlins. You want to sweep through the Marlins and hopefully win 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. And then you could head out west for the Diamondbacks and the Padres. A huge West Coast trip. And we'll see if they could, you want to get everything right during these 6 games. And then you gear up and you play in some good teams, big games. So tomorrow, the Mets, Quintana and Spence is your pitching matchup tomorrow. Quintana's been, hit or miss. and they need him to hit tomorrow. The Mets bullpen will be rested. It's a game they have to win. You got to win this rubber game. You can't lose series to the A's and expect to be taken seriously as a playoff contender. So we'll see how it goes. The Giants losing tonight to the Braves. Like we said, Padres and Diamondbacks won. The Yankees, after dropping the first game to the White Sox, which is embarrassing, they come back and they blow them out the next two nights with Soto hitting 3 home runs last night, and then in another 10-run outburst tonight. They win 10-2. So other scores going on today of meaning, at least to the Mets. You had, or to the Yankees even, Baltimore 4-1 winners over the Nationals, so they keep pace with the Yankees. They're right there. That's going to be a good pennant race coming down the stretch, probably to the very end. You had St. Louis losing to the Reds. St. Louis is fading. The Reds are playing better. 9-2, the Reds win that one. Marlins lose to the Phillies. The Phillies getting back on track. I told you they weren't going to blow this division. They're going to run away with this division. What are they getting? Yankees 10-2, and the Dodgers losing 5-4 to the Brewers. And I'm telling you, watch out if you're the Dodgers, because San Diego and Arizona are coming. They've cut the lead. I believe it's to 4 games in the NL West. Let me take a look. The NL West, the Dodgers have a 2.5 game lead over Arizona and San Diego. 2.5 games. So by the time the Mets go to play San Diego and Arizona, they might be chasing the Dodgers, which is very interesting. Very interesting. The Diamondbacks for the second straight year are doing this. So give them a ton of credit. They have really got it going. 26 of 30 they've won, and they win every night. Every night. So let's see what the Mets can do tomorrow. 1:10 is your first pitch from Citi Field. It'll be on SNY. It'll be on CBS 880 radio. If you're heading out to the game, it should be a nice day. Enjoy it, everybody. Mets get a win tonight, 9-1. They stop the bleeding, stop the 4-game losing streak, snap it, and now move forward. You can put everything behind you, chase the Braves, and go out and win games, and just get this thing to September, and then you could get the final stretch and hopefully a berth in the playoffs for the Mets. So a big game for Alonso, big game for Lindor. Peterson again, 7-1, 6 and a third innings pitched, only 3 hits, no earned runs. Again, beautiful. Quintana looking to follow it up tomorrow. Thanks for listening, everybody. This has been Locked Up Sports. I'm Bob Walters. You can find us anytime, anywhere at our website at lockedupsports.net, lockedupsports.net, or anywhere you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. So we'll see you next time. We'll talk to you next time. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studio. See ya.